Welcome to Meet the Candidate with your host, Sue Lonnie Madsen. Meet the Candidate is your opportunity to see local candidates and hear about the experiences that have shaped their lives. Meet the Candidate is a nonpartisan community project brought to you by our friends at Greater Spokane Incorporated, Ponderosa Republican Women's Club, We Believe, We Vote, and Better Spokane. Now, here's Sue Lonnie.
Okay, welcome to Meet the Candidate, and my guest for this session is Jennifer Gigi Ferguson. She's come over from Tacoma to be live in the studio in Spokane here. Welcome, Gigi.
Welcome, thank you, and thank you for having me.
I'm glad that you could make it over, and that's an important thing for a Senate candidate, right, to get around the whole state?
Yes.
This is just a non-political introduction to who you are and where did you grow up and go to school?
Well, I was born in the projects in Chicago with a midwife and my mother. I have five brothers. We lost one before I was 5 as an infant, and I lost my mother to cancer 6 months after she was diagnosed when I was 7.5.
Oh.
So my brothers and I were split up. I was adopted by my father. It was during a time it was difficult getting jobs, and so we were kind of homeless a little bit for a while, moving from place to place. But with my mom, I was in public school, and I was having a difficult time adjusting to not having my mom and not having my brothers. So my dad put me in Catholic schools, which in Chicago are everywhere. They're literally everywhere. So I went into Catholic school and had the nuns, and then my father wanted me to be a part of the busing program. So I was a part of the busing program where they were sending the black children into the white schools. And because of different things going on, I believe I went to 3 different schools. But I received a great education. I had a great learning experience with a variety of people. I was introduced to things I would have never been introduced to without that. I also played golf. My grandmother was a golfer, and their women's organization started with a youth group. And it was funny because it gave us something to do on Saturdays, and it was all black women and their grandchildren and children. And we played in tournaments together, and we played tournaments with other black kids in Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana. So it was really funny because I didn't realize white people played golf until I was about junior high. But I've been very community involved. I was, on the board for our golf club as I came up. And then when I was in high school taking driver's ed, my driver's ed teacher had me to go to this meeting. I went to the meeting and was elected as an officer. My dad was abusive. I finally decided I wasn't going to take it anymore, and I fought back and ran away from home. And I ended up in a boarding school, which was also a wonderful experience. But I had to call the governor's office and let them know that I could no longer serve in the position that I had been elected by my peers. And they asked where was I, and I told them. And as I told them, they said, hold on. And they came back and said, we don't have anyone representing that county. The governor said, you will now serve at the pleasure of the governor as a representative in the Illinois Youth Traffic Safety Council, and which was very interesting because it was in a town where blacks still had to be out of town by sundown. So I've had an interesting life that has allowed me to cross many paths. I'm married to a Vietnam veteran who was a soldier for 22 years. We'll be married 40 years this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We have 3 sons. One has served in Iraq. One has not served, and then the youngest one just came back just before Mother's Day from South Korea. and has been reassigned. And I have been active, all of our duty stations. I've been an active wife. Sometimes I was an active first sergeant's wife when the first sergeants didn't have a wife.
Your husband in the service had a lot of different duty stations?
We had duty stations at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, 101st Airborne. We were in Mainz, Germany. While we were there, I was the assistant mayor for our housing area, so I was one of the liaisons between the housing and the families and the command at Mainz, in Mainz at the Mainz base. So I've done that. I volunteered with Red Cross. I have a master's in psychology. And with that, I did an internship at Madigan with our soldiers that had mental health issues and PTSD and a lot of other acute mental health problems, and worked with them. I volunteered 2,200 hours in less than 13 months. I was there about 50 hours a week. It was good. It was good. I actually left there with secondary trauma. Didn't realize I was there at that point, but it was good. So I've done a lot, and I can't get it all in 10 minutes, but I think that's a good round for me there.
Well, so the impression you gave me is that you are a lemonade maker?
Yes, I am.
And you are a cheerful person who has made the best of a lot of situations that would have thrown other people back.
Yes.
And that's an interesting thing to hear, but just really interesting to hear you tell that story.
And and I was thinking as I was driving here, I'm one of those people that travel the road less traveled.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that I often ask people is what's prompted them to run for public office. You've obviously done a lot of things. You've got a broad experience, but why run for elected office now?
It's not just now. 2012, I ran in a 10th. I knew zero about politics, absolutely
10th
nothing.
Congressional
10th Congressional District.
Okay.
I didn't know how to get on the ballot or when to get on the ballot. That tells you how much I know about politics. And I actually raised $900 and kept the endorsed candidate millionaire from getting 50% of the vote. And I began watching what he said versus what he was doing and calling it out and just calling it out. And after 3 runs, the middle run I ran as an independent, but I was so tired and I really didn't give it what I needed. And then in the 3rd run I ran again as a Democrat and kept him from getting 50% of the vote again. But I was a Bernie Sanders delegate, and I was like, I'm tired of this. And they're like, but we need you. And so many people said, we need you. And I had 3 people in one day came to me, said, you can't quit, we need you. And I'm like, really? But as I've gone through this, one of the things that I've realized, the same fight my grandmother was fighting when I was little, my cousins went to jail for, and I was in the busing program for, we were fighting those fights in the 50s and the 60s through for blacks. Today, we're fighting those same fights for 98% of us. And so what's going on, our country has moved from being a republic where it's supposed to be the people representing the people and the people's voice being heard, to being a democracy which has become, as either Adams or Jefferson said, fascist. And so the people's voice is not being heard. And I can be a voice to be reckoned with, and I'm not for sale. I'm going there to represent the people.
Okay. Well, you get to save that last minute for your wrap-up speech. You answer the question directly. Why should voters choose you for U.S. Senate for the state of Washington?
Voters should choose me for U.S. Senate because I think I represent all the people. and I probably have the most vast experience. I'm not a millionaire. I'm one of the regular people. And my passion and my love is serving. And actually, the word politician means to serve. Mm-hmm. And I've been serving our communities my entire life. And I will not stop. I'm not for sale. I'm not taking corporate money. And I'm not with fossil fuel, pharmaceuticals, or any of those things. I am the people's politician.
All right. Well, that's a good wrap up, Gigi. I'm so glad that you could make it and had a safe drive over. Good luck on your campaign.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching Meet the Candidate. Spokane Talks thanks our community-minded partners, Greater Spokane Incorporated, the Ponderosa Republican Women's Club, We Believe We Vote, and Better Spokane for helping make Meet the Candidate possible.